Good evening. It's 6 o'clock and I'd like to welcome you all to our second webinar in the series of professional webinars that we're providing for our internationally educated nurses to give information on a range of topics in relation to the value and the benefits of being a member of the Royal College of Nursing. I'm not going to be speaking long, but basically just to welcome you, but also to say that we'll not be introducing ourselves until each of the speakers go in to do their topics. My name is Stephanie Dunn and I'm the Regional Director for the Northwest region, and we are hosting this event tonight. So welcome, and I hope you get an awful lot out of this because it's a packed agenda. There's a lot of really interesting information here that I know you'll find useful and delivered by a number of our expert staff across the college. You'll have an opportunity to ask questions, which you can drop into the side chat. And for those of you who can't find the chat, it's the speech bubble, and for some of you it will have chat written underneath, but put your questions in there, and at the end of all of the presentations we will pick up questions towards the end, and the more questions you ask, the better, and there's no such thing as a daft question because we really want to hear from all of you. I hope you find it useful, and I will hand over to our very first speaker, who is Caroline, and I'll ask Caroline to introduce herself and then to launch into her presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Stephanie. Good evening, everyone. I'm Caroline Chalkley and I'm the Product Manager for the Education, Learning and Development Programme at the Royal College of Nursing. And I'm really delighted to have the opportunity to show you around RCN Learn and highlight some of the key features and how you can get the most from this fantastic site. Now, here we are, and let's jump straight in. I'm here on the main RCN website, and here you can easily access RCN Learn from the link here that I'm showing you on the right. So I'm going to click here and it will take me across to RCN Learn, and we're here on the home page. Across the very top of the site, you can see that we have website links to the RCN and RCNi sites, so you can easily navigate to these. And we also have a contact us link here so that you can reach out and get in touch. So whether that's with feedback or suggestions about the site or further questions, we really always want to hear from you to understand how we can improve the experience for you. Here you can see that I'm logged in. It's as an RCN member and it's a test account. And underneath here, we have a link for the Revalidation Portfolio, which my colleague Lucy will show you later on the call. We have a page that's dedicated to the benefits of RCN Learn, and another page that details the product offering that we have for organisations here. You can see that the main action here is the search bar, and beneath that there's an opportunity to view all the courses and resources, or just browse them and have a look and see what's there. RCN Learn is available to everybody to go and browse, but according to your user type, you will have different levels of access to the actual resources themselves. We have registered user content, which is available to anyone who registers for a free RCN account. You do not need to be a member to access this content, and it includes things such as standards, frameworks and guidelines. Using RCN Learn as an RCN member, you can access all the content that registered users can access. But in addition, RCN members can also access hundreds of other clinical and non-clinical learning resources on the site. Using RCN Learn as an RCNi Plus subscriber, you can access all the registered user content as well as all the RCNi Plus subscriber content. What you'll see is when you're logged in, these yellow boxes show you exactly the kind of access that you have. So for me, as an RCN member, you can see that I have access to both the registered user content and also the RCN member content. If you're an RCN member and an RCNi Plus subscriber, then this third box would also be yellow. Scrolling down the page a bit further into our featured content section, This is controlled by the RCN Learn editorial team, and the content in this area gets updated to highlight new resources, for example, and it also reflects our resources relating to specific awareness days. Once again, scrolling down the page, you can see that there's a video here that provides an explanation of what RCN Learn is. And it's a really great starting point for those of you who perhaps haven't used the site before. So I definitely recommend it. It's a minute and a half and it's well worth your time to have a look at that. Then these are links to further learning resources. Firstly, the RCN Library, which is the largest nursing library in Europe. And as an RCN member, you can access the whole collection. So that's books and journals and databases, and they're all specifically related to nursing and healthcare. Then you have a link to the different learning events that the group puts on. And on the right-hand side here, you have a link to view the RCNi publication offering. RCN Learn is designed to get you to the most relevant resources as quickly as possible. So let's have a look at searching for a resource. I can enter in a keyword here directly onto the homepage, or I can choose to view all courses and resources, which will take me through to the search page. And that's what I'm going to do now. So here I am on the search page of RCN Learn, and you can see that I have various different options for how I might want to search. By keyword, so I simply type something into the search box, or I can filter for a particular subject area. You can see that there's quite an extensive list there of different areas that might be of interest to me. Or I can select the type of access. So for example, I can choose to just see content that I can access as an RCN member. And finally, I can choose the different types of learning, so either a course or a resource. A resource is a more general piece of learning content, whereas a course tends to be a more structured piece of learning content, which takes you through the learning one step at a time. So let's now have a look at some of the resources on offer. Suppose I'm looking for some resources relating to diabetes. I'm going to use the subject filter and select diabetes. And what you can see is all the content now behind has changed to reflect my search. We're going to have a look at this one here, the Diabetes Essentials. So each piece of content has what we call a tile. That means it has its own image that's related to the content. It has this subject heading here, so that this piece of content I can see is related to the diabetes subject area, and a title which tells you all about what the resource is. You can also see the access type here. This one is available to everyone. That means that anyone with a registered RCN account, an RCN member or an RCNi Plus subscriber can access this content. So if I click through, I'm taken to this overview page. So this page gives you a bit more detail about the piece of content. It tells you who it's aimed at, so that you can decide whether the resource is relevant for you. On the whole, resources are aimed at the whole of the nursing workforce and in all care settings, but there are some pieces of content that are specifically aimed at nurses or nursing associates or other specific groups, and there are some pieces of content that are specific to particular care settings. It also gives you a full list of the learning outcomes that you would expect to achieve once you've read this piece of content. And you can see in this instance that it covers everything from diagnosis, treatment, management, and much more. And as I scroll down the page, you'll see the resource lead in case you've got any queries or you want to get in touch specifically about this particular resource. There's also a date on here so that you can see when the resource was last updated. Everything on RCN Learn has been quality assured before going onto the site, and we have a very rigorous QA process that means that all the RCN resources on RCN Learn will be audited at least annually. Now, if I scroll up and click on the yellow button, you can see it takes me through to the actual resource, which is really a wealth of information all related to diabetes. Now, navigating back to RCN Learn itself, I want to draw your attention to perhaps my favourite feature of the site, and that's this little star here with the Save to Favourites. So suppose you found a resource that you like the look of, but you're a bit pressed for time, you don't quite have enough time to be able to read it now. You can click on this and it will save it into your favourites, so you can come back at a time that's a bit more convenient to you to be able to read it. If you scroll back up here and click on My Favourites, it will then take you into this area where you're easily able to access anything you might have chosen to favourite previously. Now I'm going to carry out another search here, and this time I'm going to have a look for consent. So most of the content you'll find on RCN Learn is UK wide, and that's for, but there are particular situations such as consent where providing country-specific resources is appropriate. And as you can see from the row of the tiles at the top here, we have guidance about consent that covers all 4 nations. Just pop in quickly and have a look at this one here. So consent in Scotland. And what you can see there is that the page is structured in a very similar way each time, so you'll become very familiar with the format. And then clicking through to the resource, once again, you can see that the resource is providing examples and scenarios for managing decisions relating to consent. So we've looked at RCN member resources, and we've looked at those which are available to everyone. Now let's take a look at an RCNi subscriber resource. So I'm just going to take the scenario where I'm looking to improve my communication skills. So I type in to the search, it's offered me some suggestions here, and I can see all the different resources that are available for my keyword search. This one here, promoting effective communication skills in nursing practice. Well, that sounds like the sort of thing that would be good and the sort of thing that I'm interested in. As you can see here, it clearly indicates to me that this is available to RCNi Plus subscribers. So if I'm an RCNi Plus subscriber, I'll be able to access this course. And just one last point from me before I hand on to Lucy is just to mention that although I've shown you the RCN Learn site today from my laptop, the whole site and all the functionality and all the content that we've seen works exactly the same way on a tablet or a mobile device, so you can access it in any way you want. So I hope this has given you a good overview of RCN Learn and how to get the most from it. As I mentioned earlier, if you've got feedback, please pop that in the chat, or do get in contact with us using the Contact Us functionality at the top. I'm now going to pass over to my colleague Lucy.
Okay, so my name's Lucy Tomlins and I'm one of the RCN professional leads for learning and development. And I'm going to take you on a whistle-stop tour tonight of the Revalidation Portfolio, which RCN members can now have free access to as part of their membership. We'll have a Q&A session later, so if you've got any questions, just jot them down or pop them in the chat. So the portfolio we are demonstrating tonight is this Revalidation Portfolio, which is accessible through the RCN Learn portal. So I'm just going to click on the Revalidation Portfolio. And this is what you'll see when you click through to your portfolio. So this Revalidation Portfolio is for use by any NMC registrant in order to prepare their evidence for NMC revalidation. The portfolio has been designed to align with the NMC requirements for revalidation, and it includes the NMC mandatory fields with the corresponding pro formas or templates, which you can actually see there at the top of the page. There's a helpful step-by-step guide next to the NMC forms there, which can lead you through the 3-year revalidation process. And of course, the RCN general website has a huge amount of information on revalidation as well. So here you can see the progress bar, which provides you with an accessible summary of your progress to date as you go through. Offers a user-friendly presentation of a one-stop revalidation shop. And we're currently in the process of developing a bespoke portfolio for our non-NMC registrant members, which include assistant practitioners, nursing support workers, healthcare assistants and students, and that will be accessible later on in the year. So accessing your portfolio for RCN Learn, you will first come across this prompt to enter your NMC registration details. This is really important, so you need to enter accurate details here, and in this way you can chart your progress within the 3-year revalidation cycle. So once on the page, you can see here the NMC requirements itemised in separate tiles, and each has its own little progress bar as well, so that you can focus your efforts as and where required. Each of them has a brief explanation of the item and the opportunity to view your evidence and upload more evidence through the plus tab. So as I scroll down, you'll see this one's progressing nicely in individual and total CPD hours there, and there's a record of the evidence that's been uploaded. So if I go to the plus sign, if I want to add something else, then you'll be able to link your evidence to the NMC code and the NMC standards, and there's an upload button a little bit further down as well, and a save button there. So as you add the evidence to each of the individual tiles, that will be captured in the progress bar, which will readjust accordingly. If you choose to subscribe to the RCNi, then you can also access quizzes, which can be captured in your CPD hours as well. So I'm just going to go back to the dashboard, which takes me back to all those different tiles. And you can see each of these tiles is designed and presented in a very similar way. You've also got the option down here of uploading all your certificates and any other supporting documents you might want to save. So it serves as an additional repository for other uses, such as your personal professional development and appraisals. The portfolio is also downloadable, should it be required to be presented to the NMC, or if you want to save it elsewhere. And if we just look down at the bottom of the page there, running along the bottom, there's a really helpful list of FAQs where virtually all the queries you can think of will be being answered. So that's the revalidation portfolio in a nutshell. So good luck, get going with that. And I'm going to pass you off now to my colleague, Heather.
Thanks, Lucy. That was really useful and a really useful resource on the RCN Learn site. So thanks very much. Okay, my name is Heather Randall and I'm Head of Education here at the Royal College of Nursing. Next slide, please. I've been asked to talk to you today about a couple of things. The first thing is about the forums. So the forums that we offer within the RCN. These make a vital contribution to the working of the RCN, because it's about our membership and it's hearing from the membership, and the forums is a good way that we get to hear from our membership. So there are lots of different groups, and I'll show you in a minute those ones, of people within the membership with a shared interest, so something that is specialised in. You can be in more than one forum, so you don't have to just pick one. And it is part of your membership offer, so this is something that you're allowed to do, or we would encourage you to do. And it also provides opportunities for you to support the professional learning development of your colleagues and of the college. Next slide, please. So there are 35 different professional forums within the RCN, and they cover lots of different specialities. So advanced nursing practice, down to there's children's ones, there's CYP, children and young people's forums, so specialist care, professional issues. Also, if you work in the community, there's a district nursing and community nursing one. There's also one for general practice nursing. If education is something that you're interested in, there's an education forum. There's also the Research Society, so a variety of things, but then there's also the specialisms, so things like bladder and bowel, neurosciences, ophthalmic nursing, so lots of different areas that I'm sure you could find an interest in. Next slide, please. So what do our forums do? So their main role is to contribute to the professional work of the RCN, and that's a big thing to do, really. So they get to do things like represent the college at external meetings. They get to go to national, and that's at a national and a local level. They get to respond to and contribute to consultations that we get that come in. So we very often ask for people from the forum with specialist interests to help us with response to consultations. They get to develop and deliver workshops. So as part of their forum, they can be doing conferences, digital events, things like this, the webinars. I know that one of my forums does a monthly webinar as part of their role. They can influence policy within the college and nationally, so help, you know, to influence and lobby the government for things. Provide expert member advice, so we use them as our resources, because we, although we have a nursing team, some of the expert evidence we need, we use the committee members for. Help to develop and review the RCN professional publications. So you find that there's lots of publications out there that have been developed by the forums because they're the specialists in that field, and they're renewed regularly and updated regularly by those members of the forums. And they help to develop clinical and professional guidance and set standards as well. So quite a big opportunity if you want to be part of a forum. Next slide, please. So this is how you sign up to forums. So you would log into your My RCN page and then follow the link or search for forums and networks, and you can just register yourself as part of that, and you'll become part of a mailing list, part of the engagements that are going on as part of that. If you did decide as well, you can also become part of the committee. So at the minute we're currently looking for committee members. I believe it shuts on Friday, but Stephanie will confirm that. But you can still apply to be a committee member, so part of the small group of 7 people, around 7 people, that lead that committee and make decisions around what that committee is going to be influencing within the Royal College of Nursing. Next slide, please. So that's all I've got to say about forums. I'm happy for you to ask questions if you want to know anything about that, and please use the chat to ask any questions that you want to know for any of the talks that are on tonight. The next thing I was asked to talk about was reflection and support. So I'm going to cover mentorship, clinical supervision, preceptorship and management supervision, just light touch so that you can see a little bit about them from the professional point of view. Next slide, please. So the first thing I want to talk to you about was about mentorship. Now, mentorship is a partnership between a nurse who's beginning their career, so a new nurse, or beginning in that area. So if they've moved to a new area, then they become the beginner or the new nurse, and that's the mentee. And a nurse who's got a lot of experience, so someone with multiple years of experience. And mentorship is a really useful way of passing on knowledge and also providing support to that new nurse where they're working. It's about encouraging mutual professional growth between both, because trust me, the mentor learns as much from the mentee as the other way around, and it's something that I would actively look for where you're working. Next slide, please. Another thing that the RCN is really keen on nurses doing, because it helps them to grow and helps them to develop and reflect on their practice, is clinical supervision. And if you're not getting clinical supervision where you are, ask about it, because that should be something that you're actively involved in. So as a graduate workforce, it's really important that we're given the opportunity to reflect on and consider our actions as nurses and think about how we could, things that we did well, how we can do things differently, areas that we might need to develop. And that's all part of that reflective process. And this is what we encourage people to do in their clinical supervision. So it's the RCN believes that it's through the lens of reflective practice that there is a debate around how we evolve and how we develop as practitioners. Next slide, please. Preceptorship is another area that is really useful for nurses who are newly qualified. So preceptorship should be in the first year of being qualified, and it's the same process. It's around having a mentor, so a preceptor and a preceptee, so someone who's new is then looked after by someone who's got more experience, usually where they work, so within their area, on their ward or in their community setting. And they're there to work with them around developing that into that autonomous professional, you know, moving from student to qualified nurse, and the difference that that requires in you and your clinical practice. It's also really supportive, so it helps you as the new nurse to understand your boundaries and to be able to reflect and say, actually, yes, I can do that, or no, I need to know a little bit more about it before I do it. Next slide, please. And then finally, what I wanted to talk to you about was management supervision. So that is different to clinical supervision. Management supervision is around looking at, it's a more formal process, and it's looking at your performance as a nurse, the support that you're getting, the support that you might need, and any development issues that you have. So anything that you think, actually, I need to learn a little bit more about that, or now that I've progressed a little bit, I know that I need to do this. So it's a formal conversation around, you know, the good and the bad of how you're progressing and the support that can be offered to you. And now I'm going to pass on to my colleague.
Hi everyone, thanks Heather. It was brilliant to know a little bit more about the forums as well, because I think it's a wonderful platform and something we certainly encourage members to join just from that professional aspect. So yeah, my name's Julie and I'm a careers coach and operational lead for the Royal College of Nursing. If you can go into the next slide, please. I'm just going to provide you with a bit of an overview if you're looking to apply for jobs, maybe you've got an interview coming up, or perhaps you're thinking about what kind of pathway can I take. You know, there's so many opportunities, and hopefully I can guide you in the right direction of where to start looking. Our online career resources, I'd always recommend going in the first instance. We'll have a little bit of demo of that in a moment. But you know, looking there's the website there, so rcn.org.uk/careers. So if you're applying for jobs, we can certainly help you with CVs and supporting statements. We offer an email feedback service. So if you are an RCN member, you want us to take a look at your CV, or you're applying for a job and you've got to write a supporting statement, you can email that to us and we can offer you feedback. Along with, then again, we've got lots of online samples for you to view, which I will show you. And if you wanted to speak to somebody, so as I mentioned, if you've been invited for an interview, you can have one-to-one telephone interview coaching. Again, you can email through the job description, the person specification, that will always be tailored then for that session. If you're feeling a little bit stuck, you've got some career ideas. And I think that's the most important thing is, you know, you're going away and you're doing a little bit of research, and perhaps you want to explore then, well, how will that fit in with my values or my strengths? We can offer then one-to-one telephone career coaching. So I'm just going to show you the online resources. If you can play the demo, please.
So this is what you will see when you navigate to the career pages and resources. This is our career landing page. I take some time to browse through the online information that we've developed. We have lots of different career information on a variety of areas. So whether you're looking to manage your career around your health or thinking about career progression, again, take some time, have a little look through. And we've got lots of career progression tips also. So what I'm going to really look at today is the CV writing area, supporting statements and applying for jobs. So in the nurses and midwife section, you can see we've categorized them into separate career topics. And what we'll have a little look at today is the applying for jobs section, just so I can show you how to download sample CVs and sample supporting statements. So here's the CV writing, and once you're logged in as a member, then on the right hand side you'll be able to see you can download some samples to help you. Let's take a look. There we go, and there's a sample nurse CV. Just gives you an idea of what the requirements are, what employers might be looking for, and a structure really of how to present your CV to employers. The same then would be exactly the same for your supporting statement and the samples that we have there. So again, you navigate back to the nurses and midwives section, and then in here you'd be able to download the sample supporting statements on the right hand side. I just want to quickly show you as well the career coaching area. That's off the main landing page. So could you benefit from career coaching? This is over the telephone, as I mentioned. You'd book an appointment through RCN Direct. It'll give you a bit of an idea of what coaching is and what coaching is not. So our coaches can help you sort of identify your values, your strengths, look at some actions and those next steps really. You know, we certainly can't tell you what to do or tell you which course to take. You know, that would be something that you'd be able to research yourself, and hopefully we'll provide you with those links off our career pages. So we've developed lots of frequently asked questions. So this is perhaps some of the main inquiries we see in the careers team, which some aspects, as I mentioned, will be online only. But this should cover really most of the topics that you might be looking for. So if you've been invited for an interview, here we've added interview skills techniques. We've got sample interview questions and how to book an appointment there, just at the bottom. You know, interview coaching would warrant an appointment with one of our coaches, and that's how you would do it through RCN Direct. So I'm just going to quickly show you now the nursing career resource. So this will help you more with the practicalities of different roles and different pathways. It's been developed with Health Education England. It's a fantastic resource. There's lots of sort of case studies, podcasts. This is the main page, and then you'd click on what you were looking for. And as you can see, you know, there's lots of different subcategories. So if you're looking to move on in a clinical role, you'll find lots of different areas here and variety. If you're looking at changing clinical settings, changing nursing fields, let's just have a quick look at one of these. As you can see, you know, you've got an introduction, you've got a bit of a case study. There's lots of kind of videos, podcasts, how to make that change and the practical steps to help you with that. So let's take a little look at that in a bit more detail.
In nursing, it's sometimes assumed that you have to follow certain steps to get where you want to go. But nursing is a varied career, with lots of opportunities available to move between settings, specialisms, and develop new skills. The Royal College of Nursing Nursing Careers Resource website, in partnership with Health Education England, can help you take control of your career.
Oh, thank you. Hopefully that's just given you a bit of an overview. I mean, as with all our other departments, I think there's lots that we can offer and there's lots that you can have and you can access really if you are a member of the RCN. And again, there is some open content for you also. I'm going to hand you over now to Sarah, who's going to talk you through the nursing workforce standards.
Lovely, thank you very much. Hello everybody, I'm Sarah Seeley. I'm a professional lead working in the nursing practice department alongside my colleagues that have presented earlier. So I'm going to present the nursing workforce standards and give you just a bite-sized chunk of what they are, what they can help and how they can help you in your workplace, and also the development that the RCN are doing currently, which is on the professional framework, which I'll take you through in my presentation. Next slide, please. Bear with me, so apologies for this. What we've been doing in the RCN, and in May 2021 we launched the Nursing Workforce Standards, which is a set of standards, 14 standards, which have been working in collaboration and communication with our members, working with all our workplaces to design what is a workforce standards, which is safe and effective care, but also what are those standards. So we've been working with legislation. Also this comes alongside with pay, and also how our members, how yourselves can escalate any safer staffing issues, nursing workforce standards. So we have these within the RCN website, within the front page. When you link within the professional development, you will find the nursing workforce standards in much more detail, and I'm just going to give you a high-level view of those, but they are available on the RCN website. Next slide, please. Excuse me. So this is the details of what the standards are, about the standards. So we have 14 standards that are grouped into 3 key themes. And these are responsibilities and accountability, and the publication is available to download so that you can have a look at these in much more detail as well. Clinical leadership and safety, there are 6 standards there, and also health, safety and well-being for our nurses in any care setting. For any nurse, these standards are applicable and can be localised for yourselves, for you to review and have a look at your nursing workforce standards. Next slide, please. I do have a link if you'd like me to add the link into the standards after the presentation when we do the Q&A if needed. But I wanted to just literally go through the standards and how they're part of a suite of resources that the RCN are providing to drive standards forward for safe and effective care. Raise, and also how members can review the standards and actually consider how they would raise and escalate concerns in a very formal way through RCN support, and we do have a resource for raising and escalating concerns. So next slide, please. So here's an overview of the 14 standards. I'm not going to read those all out to you, but obviously very accessible. I really recommend that you're going to have a look at these in detail. They'll be very relevant to you wherever you're working in your care environment, and really help and give you the confidence of how to ensure that you're working safely and you're raising your safe and effective care concerns where needed. So next slide, please. We also have a standards checklist on the website where you can actually self-evaluate your workplace yourself, and also the tool is standardised. It can be a tool that's used, checklist against the nursing workforce standards, where you can look self-assess at the ward level, but also the nursing directors, our senior nurses, are all made aware of these standards. So across all healthcare settings, we're very much ensuring that the standards are utilised for nurses and for our senior nurses and our directors of nursing, to ensure that they have got a benchmark tool on what safer staffing is and what that looks like within against our RCN standards. Next slide, please. Here's a view of what the tool would look like according to standards. I'm really advocating that you go and have a really good look at the resource that's on the website. I'm literally just giving you an overview of those. Next slide, please. What we're also asking is, because the standards have been out now since 2021, we're asking our members in all our healthcare settings to actually become our nursing workforce standards champions. This is how you could become a champion. We launched this at RCN Congress this year, but also very much of the detail is on the RCN website. Please really advocate for you to go and have a look at the nursing workforce standards, and if you feel that's really relevant, go and have a look on the website, see how you can then progress to being a nursing workforce standard champion. Next slide, please. And obviously this is the standards champions would be there to support other colleagues, other members, all the nursing workforce, wherever you work, to help implement the standards and actually be able to raise concerns in a very effective way and share and promote the nursing workforce standards. Next slide, please. And here's a link in the next slide for you, if need be, and also the web page. Right, so that's the part of the nursing workforce standards. What I'd like to introduce to you as well is the next phase, what the RCN are doing currently, and what we'll be launching later this year. And that is we are developing what we're calling professional nursing framework programme, which is an overarching programme linking in very much the resources that we've seen in our previous presentations, but also being able to pull it all together in one resource. And our professional nursing committee, which obviously is one of the forums that we've spoken about earlier, have asked us as the RCN to work with and update and redefine our definition of nursing. So coming in autumn this year, watch this space, we will have a new updated RCN definition of nursing and updated principles of nursing, but also alongside that we will link in with the career frameworks, the career resources that we've had earlier in the presentations, but we'll also be describing the levels and the type of nursing career pathways, whether it's in specialism or within field specific. So what I'm saying is watch this space. The RCN will be delivering and pulling all of these resources together to help it you yourselves as members be able to gauge some of these resources slicker and smarter within the RCN digital platform. Next slide, please. And this is what the future will look like, how we will go into when we have our new definition and our new principles of nursing. You'll be able to go into this is nursing, but also what are the routes into nursing and what are the career pathways, what are the resources, what would RCN Learn do to help us. So next slide, please. And this is where we'll be describing within the framework the levels of nursing. This is very much a draft. This is not for sharing. This is work in progress. It's just we're describing the levels of nursing, not the roles, not the bands, not the job descriptions. But what I'm saying is watch this space and we will be launching quite a few publications and updated details at the end of this year. Thank you all very much. And I'd like to hand you back to Stephanie. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. That was incredibly informative. And I hope those of you that are online will recognise just how much work has been done, how much is available to you in relation to the price of your membership, but also there's real value attached. Our speakers tonight have got an awful lot of expertise, and I really want to thank them for the work they've done just in giving you a really high level oversight into what's available in the college. And in just sort of quick scampering through as a summing up, I think the key message from all of our speakers was to get onto the different sites. So get onto RCN Learn, look at the revalidation portfolio process and what's there to support. Look at the forums, look at the things that might interest you professionally, either in your current role or maybe if you're in an aspirant position looking to move into a different field of practice. The Professional Nursing Committee and the Forum Steering Committee is also looking for membership. So there've been a number of us to think about and look at this. This really is about progressing your career. And one of the things that we are very keen to support our overseas nurses, our internationally educated nurses with, is to have effective and successful career progression. So please use this as a member to make sure that you are prepared, you are supported and enabled to access those professional opportunities, those career advancing opportunities, if and when they appear, and always be ready to take on those chances. So you can see we're talking about the professional structures, preceptorship, clinical supervision, management development, all sorts of things. Career preparation is key, and thinking about career coaching invaluable when you start to sort of focus down on where you want to be. If there are blocks in your way, really important. And I think finally, one of the most professional and important things that we're facing this year is staffing safe and effective care. And we do encourage you all, thank you, Sarah, for that presentation, to look at the nursing workforce standards and to consider becoming a workforce champion and share it with your colleagues. So spread the word. This is really part of our, I suppose, our role in terms of protecting the public and the workforce. So our service users rely on safe and effective care. So the workforce standards are there to help you do that. Use them. Your colleagues rely on you and you rely on your colleagues to alert management to things that are less than safe that will impact you either physically or professionally. So use that. And I think one of the great values of being a member of the Royal College of Nursing, beyond, some of the things we've written here look very simple and straightforward, but it's far more complex and far more far-reaching than that. So first of all, we've talked about the professional development, the things that will enable you to become the nurse that you want to be, the nurse that our service users deserve you to be, and that you can achieve your professional aspirations, your ambitions, and a lot of that stuff is there, provided through your membership. Workplace support. I don't think any of us ever anticipate going into work and falling foul of an employment issue and having to call on a trade union or somebody else to support you, particularly if you are in a situation where you may be referred to the regulatory body or to taken through a process that could result in dismissal. And this isn't about us frightening you, it's really just to demonstrate that in these circumstances, as part of your membership, we are here to support you and to get the right level of support and advice, including legal advice and regulatory legal advice, which is the third value of membership. And that is hugely significant. And many of you will see some of the landmark cases that the RCN has won on behalf of its members who have suffered injustices within the workplace. There's a whole range of member support, and I think particularly for those of you who are overseas educated nurses newly recruited into the UK, you will see the value of some of that, and I hope you don't have to rely on it. But if you do, it's rock solid advice provided by an excellent team. So there's immigration advice, welfare guidance. We've talked about career coaching. We provide confidential telephone counselling, because there are times when, for all of us, work gets a bit tough and the ask can feel overwhelming. Don't suffer alone. You can use this, and it's really important. It's not a weakness, it's actually a strength to seek help and just to keep yourself buoyant and working. Peer support, there's a lot of that's available. We have a good body of members who are willing to support and enable each other, particularly those who've had prior experience, and they are there to shadow support and just give you advice as needed, alongside the professional advice that's available. And just getting used to things like the language, how it's used. It's far more complicated than we all think. And there are regional variations and vernacular that even to this day throw me. So again, it's really important. I moved from London to the northeast and I thought I'd moved to another country. I seriously couldn't understand the accent or the words they were using to describe simple things that I understood. And this is about careers advice, because we need to see more diversity, more career development and career development opportunities open up for our nurses from the global majority. And for too long, that has not been their experience. So this framework that's been discussed with you today is there for you to use. So, and I hope you can see what the benefits of your membership are. If you're not a member now, I would advise you to join the RCN. We have a library that is the largest nursing library in the world, and I believe we have the majority of our books available as e-books or e-journals, so you don't have to trundle down to London to borrow a book. Our librarian team are absolutely excellent, and they will support you with literature searches if you're not a student nurse, because that's part of your training and assessment. But if you're doing any practice development or assignment as a post-reg, you will get a lot of support to find contemporary evidence. So there is just so much to recommend it. I haven't got time to sell everything that's open to you. Each region has got a regional office. The key thing to remember is the forum steering committee is recruiting, and I would urge all of you to consider. I know it's a short time scale, but I believe you can still join different forums out of professional interest and maybe apply to be on the committee. And there's also the Professional Nursing Committee, which is also recruiting, and that closes in September. It's really important for the college to have a diverse membership of its forums and its various committees and governance structures. And I'm not overplaying that at all. We deliver care to diverse communities. We work in diverse teams, and we need people with knowledge of diversity in healthcare and nursing care delivery, particularly, to inform the content of our work as a college, and also the things that the policies and the way in which we try to influence others. So please get involved. We really need to hear your voices. And if you're a member, you should be coming to the table as an equal partner, supporting and influencing us on behalf of service users from diverse backgrounds, but also your colleagues who you work alongside. And I don't think there's anything else I need to add. Have I forgotten anything, Jiten? Please give me a poke if I have. But I really just want to say thank you all for your amazing presentations, and I've learned a lot today just listening in. And
Stephanie, there was a question in the chat. I wonder if Lucy might answer it verbally. I know she did write something down. It was around revalidation. They want to know if we can use the RCN. So it says, can we use our revalidation? Can we do our revalidation through the RCN site? I wonder if Lucy might be able to answer that one.
That's a perfect one for Lucy.
Heather. Yeah, of course you can use the RCNi Revalidation Portfolio to guide you into all the, completing all the items that are required for the RCN NMC revalidation. You would have to then forward the confirmation of your NMC revalidation to the NMC. The RCN won't sort of do that bit on your behalf, but certainly, yes, it's set up so that you can complete all the elements of the NMC requirements for revalidation. So you won't forget anything. It's all there in one nice compact place for you to do. I hope that answers that. Yeah,
but we can support you with the paperwork. So on the RCN website, you can put together all your confirmation information, all of those things, but that conversation has to happen locally, because we have had questions within the RCN previously about whether we can do your revalidation for you, and that's not what revalidation is about. It's about that conversation with a colleague around your practice. But thank you, Lucy.
And I think one of the things that you might be able to talk to me about, Lucy, thinking about the work that's happening in the education and learning strategy, when our members attend webinars and events such as this, or bite-sized learning sessions, how can they use that to get credit for, career, recognition for academic development, as well as for their revalidation?
Well, certainly within the RCN Learn resources, as Caroline pointed out, the programmes or the resources which carry academic credits are quite clear on the tiles. So if you want to actually increase your academic credits that you can use towards a degree, for example, then you would choose to access those programmes or those resources. You can obviously use those towards revalidation as well, but equally you can use any resource that's on RCN Learn or a webinar such as this If you want to reflect on it afterwards, and all that can be used as evidence towards revalidation in the CPD hours, or the which are required for the NMC.
Okay. Are there any other comments any of our presenters want to make? Anything you want to reinforce?
Yeah, we do have, Stephanie, we do have 3 modules at the minute that have academic credits that go towards a degree or a master's, and they're around infection prevention and control, leadership in improving physical and mental health, and leading sustainability in health and care. So those 3 you can get credits towards, so they're marked by a local university, so we use Coventry University for them. We're also looking in the future, as part of the institute, at micro credits as well, so you'll be able to get like 3 or 4 points towards a module, and they'll all contribute towards a degree or a master's level programme. So those are in the offing, but we do actually have 3 modules at the minute that are offered with academic credits.
And very last question, do they cost the members anything?
They do, yeah, there is an offer, and so if you look on the website you can see how much they cost. Some of the bite-sized learning is free to members, but the other stuff it is, because it's a programme of study, there is a cost for it. They can do group bookings as well and things, but if you have a look on the website you can see that.
And that's really helpful, and I'm really mindful of time. We're 3 minutes to the end of the event. I hope you're being quiet doesn't mean you haven't found it useful, because we really want you to benefit from this. There is an evaluation form to be put up, and we really would urge you to complete that. We're going to leave 5 minutes at the end when we won't be speaking or interrupting you to complete that evaluation. It really does help our sort of fine-tuning it. Jiten's put the evaluation link in the chat. Please do fill it in. It's really important to us. And do a reflection for your portfolio so you can capture it for revalidation. Thank you all very much. Good night.